So I've read a little bit about your background, Granger, and just wanted you to say in your own words how you entered the field of long-term care.
I pretty much fell into it. It was something that I had an opportunity to try as an executive director at a assisted living community. At the time they called them board and care communities. And I knew that that was it for me. That was my passion. I had a chance to interact with seniors, which is a blast. I think anytime you get to deal with people that have those amazing life stories and kind of limited filters, sometimes it's just an absolute kick. And it was a business that I was very passionate about immediately, and so hence you tend to be good at things you're passionate about. So that was my start.
Now you took a risk, I believe. You and your wife sort of
We did.
took all your savings and tell me a little bit about that.
So after doing this for about 4 years, working for another company, a small sole proprietor, decided that pretty much knew all we needed to know about assisted living. So I convinced my wife that we should sell our house and she should cash in her teacher's pension, and we should basically sell everything we own and move to Northern California and acquire this leasehold on a independent living community at the time. We ended up licensing it for assisted living, kind of developing our care product and service offerings, and we were successful. We ended up eventually then growing the company to 14 communities throughout California.
What are your challenges as a CEO of a company like Emeritus?
Human capital is always the biggest challenge. We're a service business. We're people taking care of people, and that's our biggest resource, our biggest asset, also our biggest risk. I mean, it's all about human capital, and so leadership development and all things around that are probably the most impactful thing that we do.
Could you tell me maybe about a crisis that you had sometime in your career and how you responded to it?
There have been so many. Where to start? We've had a number of crises over the years. We're in a business where we're taking care of a frail population, and again, back to the people taking care of people. Sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes things happen despite the best efforts of everyone around. And so over the years we've had a number of situations that have definitely we've had to respond to in one way or another, and the specific situation kind of dictates as the manner of response. But just recently, over the course of about 2 months ago, we had an adverse jury verdict in California, and it was something that surprised us. It was really a situation where a jury got caught up in things unrelated to the actual situation that happened about 5 years ago. And it was something that we had to get in front of and do a lot of education and explanation around, and I think we handled it pretty well. We got past it. We're still now in the process of appealing it, and we feel we have strong grounds to appeal it. But it requires a lot of quick action and making sure that you get out in front of it as quickly as you can and talk to the extent you can. One of the other difficult things about our business is we're limited in the details that we can share oftentimes by HIPAA regulations or other regulations to protect privacy. So it's always, it's a little bit of a delicate balancing act at times to even, get out and address some of those sorts of crises.
How would you characterize your leadership style?
I have a very collaborative style. I'm a big believer in collaboration. I think I always try to include input from a number of different sources with different perspectives. And I think that's always served me well over the years. I've kind of felt that leadership kind of breaks down into three components. I mean, you've got the things around leading the business, which is really a strategic planning and goal setting and, you know, putting together models and figuring out how you're going to execute. And then you've got the kind of leading people component, which is, you know, communication and, you know, development and motivation, mentoring and inspiring people and also the interpersonal dynamics. I'm a big believer of building teams where people's strengths and weaknesses balance each other out, and together you have a very strong group with a wide range of perspectives and a wide range of background and expertise that they can bring to you know, situations, solutions, or strategy. And then the last piece is really kind of leadership presence. I mean, at some point at the end of the day, you've got to be the one that says, this is the direction we're going to go, and makes the decisions, and everybody's very confident that you're going to lead and take that step and move things in one direction or another. And having the presence where then everybody gets on board with it, whether they were initially inclined to view things that way or not. So, you know, I like I say, I'm very inclusive, I'm very collaborative. In our company, you know, people have titles, and there's certainly some chain of command, but it's very loose. We're very, you know, kind of open door, and we go past people all the time and talk to other people when we have questions or want someone's advice or opinion. And it's very transparent, very above board. I'm a big believer in surfacing everything, because if we surface it, we'll collectively figure out how to deal with it. If it gets hidden somewhere, it could develop into a big issue before we address it. So there's no you know, kind of protected turf, or, you know, you don't talk to him without checking with me first or any of that, because we kind of keep that very clear, that good, bad, and the ugly, it's all there, and we're all going to deal with it and know about it, and we don't point fingers or play the blame game or do that sort of thing. It's just a very kind of transparent approach.
What differentiates Emeritus from other senior communities? How could you characterize the difference between Emeritus and your competitors?
You know, I think that a part of it is that that very, you know, that kind of collaborative culture, inclusive culture, transparent culture. I think all of those things are important pieces. At the end of the day, ours is a very local business, and each executive director of a community, the communities kind of take on their personality to a large degree. They have to be able to position the community in their local markets, and every local market is different market dynamics. We have different product offerings, different sizes and shapes of communities, different resident population, different price points. So, you know, from Seattle, we can't really create a set of manuals that is like following a recipe, because everyone is different. So it's more about helping people to learn how to approach decision making, build teams, you know, really have a confidence that to make the right decisions and do the right thing. And you know, I think part of the reason that this business is so fun is that if you do a really good job of providing the care and service and customer satisfaction, the rest of it kind of takes care of itself. I mean, you're able to charge a fair price and you're going to stay full if you develop that kind of reputation that really is focused on that customer experience and customer satisfaction. So it's teaching how to approach, it's teaching our leaders out in the field how to approach things from that standpoint, I think. I mean, you still got to pay attention to metrics and key indicators and that sort of thing, but the way you get to those is by doing the other stuff, not the other way around. So
That's a great response. Excellent description of leadership. Tell me, where do you see Emeritus being 10 or 20 years from now?
boy, I don't know. It's been such a great ride so far. We've grown a lot. The whole industry is going to change dramatically over the course of the next few years. Changes in Medicare reimbursement to hospitals is going to drive a whole different set of market dynamics out there. And hospitals are now, right now they really have no visibility outside the walls of their hospital. And they're going to, because reimbursement is being more outcome driven, and they need to really focus on trying to keep their patient population healthy and outside the hospital. And so they're going to want to direct more care outside the hospital, be able to direct care in assisted living or skilled nursing or at home with home care, or and help their patients manage things like their medications and their diet and you know, their follow-up appointments and rehab or whatever else, and be able to see that that's happening right now. They have, once they discharge the patient, give them their orders and their meds, they have no idea what's going to happen. So that's going to change just a whole lot of the dynamics in that whole kind of post-acute environment. And I think that someone's going to figure out that new delivery model, and I figure it might as well be us. So that's really our focus, is figuring out how that's going to look and how we align these accountable care organizations, which are being developed by hospital systems and physicians groups, and all the post-acute providers of the different services. So everything from independent living to assisted to memory care to home care and rehab. Somehow we've got to figure out how we align, how we provide that visibility. You know, it's the big technological shifts, electronic medical records, all of those sorts of things, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to try and figure it out.
Oh, it's going to be, I think, a blast for you guys. So you seeing, from what you just said, are you seeing a future with increased medicalization of your facilities?
Yeah, not within just, not with respect to assisted living per se, although there has been a trend for higher acuity in assisted living, and I think that will continue, and it's very consumer driven. It's because families would prefer to have mom in this environment rather than an institutional skilled nursing environment, and so there's been that push. But I think what's going to happen is companies such as ours will either, you know, acquire their own capacity to provide home health and rehab and skilled nursing and other services, you know, different product offerings to help facilitate the interaction and as patients, hospitals patients move between different settings, or we're going to establish strategic relationships with other providers of skilled nursing services or something else in a way that we can all together kind of, serve the hospital. Already some interesting things have started to happen, which skilled nursing industry by and large has viewed us as the enemy. We take all the good lower acuity private pay patients from them or residents from them. And now with hospitals starting to put an accountability on skilled nursing to demonstrate outcomes such as readmissions, skilled nursing now is saying, okay, I need to make sure that these patients that come from this hospital do not readmit within 30 days or 60 days. And I may only have them for 15 or 20. So maybe I can partner up with assisted living over here. We can convince the family they need another 2 weeks follow-up with assisted living. They'll do a respite stay. It's in our interest because we're thinking maybe we can convert them to a longer stay. And skilled nursing says, now I know someone's going to be making sure they're getting their meds are being managed, they're getting the right diet, and they're following up with their appointments. And by the way, if they do take a turn for the worse, don't send them to the hospital. Send them back to us, and we'll take care of it. And that way they preserve their standing with the hospital. They can start showing, look, you refer to us, you never get readmits, our outcomes are so much better. Just shifting dynamics. I think that is going to play out in a number of different ways over the course of the next few years.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Last question for you. When you go to hire an administrator or an executive, what do you look for in terms of their background?
They come from such a wide variety of backgrounds. We're a young enough industry. There is not a deep talent pool out there for our industry. As a result, I think we also, as kids, I can say that because I'm older now. When they're graduating from school, senior living isn't at the top of their sexiest professions, kind of thought process. So they're really a lot of times we end up getting people that come from different backgrounds. Some business, expertise is important. I mean, just kind of understanding how to manage people, some leadership skills, time management, leadership. Someone who is passionate about seniors. It can be a difficult business if you aren't passionate about seniors. So I think that's definitely a prerequisite. I mean, even when we hire in our Seattle office, we want to make sure that people feel passionate. Oftentimes they come to us with stories of how they had to go through a process with their mom or their dad or something like that, and that always resonates with me. I think that people can come from a number of different avenues, though. Lately, we've been getting, probably the most common are either something that's healthcare related, so coming out of some kind of healthcare related field, or hospitality related, because a lot of what we do is kind of similar to the hospitality industry, only with care. And but I wouldn't rule anything out. I mean, we've got people that just have, many people have come to us because they had an experience with a loved one, and that changed their perspective or made them think that this was a business they wanted to pursue.